This is what we're going to be making today. Delicious barbecue. Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to be making some barbecue. So I'm going to be breaking out the old smoker to get it done. Well, now normally when I do my two videos, I do one that is for just a recipe and the other which is tutorial. I'm going to do the same thing here, and this is my recipe video. I'm going to be cutting, or actually making a separate video that just kind of cuts everything that the tutorial is talking about down. So it's just going to be some great tips and tricks and techniques on getting good smoky flavor and making a really good quality barbecue. And that's what I'm going to give you, some of my best tips. I'm going to be using this right here, which is what they call an offset smoker. You can use any kind of smoker you want, whether it's a pellet smoker or a vertical smoker or electric smoker or one of these or whatever. You're going to be making some really good barbecue. And the tips I'll show you will really make a difference, truly will make a difference in the quality of your barbecue. So let's get busy getting started, and it begins by lighting up some charcoal and getting it burning, because without some sort of heat going on over here in the firebox, I can't make good barbecue. Let's get started. We have the fire getting started. Now I use a little bit of paper, and I light that paper, and the paper burning lights the charcoal. And if you notice your paper dying down a little bit like this is starting to do, you can just reignite that. That's not a problem. This is still doing fine. As soon as it comes up in temperature and this is ashed over, I'll be putting that, of course, down into the firebox. I do soak my wood, okay? And I soak my wood on purpose so that it will slow ignition, all right? I want the ignition on the wood slowed as much as possible, so I'll soak this stuff for hours before it goes down in here. And when I do put it on the fire, I never put it directly on the fire. I put it to the side of the fire on the metal of the firebox, allowing the metal to heat it, causing it to smolder. I get longer burn from my wood, smoother, more even smoke release, and better flavored barbecue as a result. Well, as you see here, we have a nice smoke flow. It isn't quite where I want it yet. Down here, my bucket's ready for any overflow dripping. In my smoke box, in the bottom, I already have some pans down here, and these are in there for the purpose of catching drippings, as well as for me to put some hot water into this first one, which I'm about to do. I want hot water here to get heated by the fire so that it keeps a moist atmosphere. You get better smoking with a moist atmosphere. My goal temperature today is 225. My fire is not too big, it's smallish. The wood that I have soaking in water over here, let me get some here. This wood I have smoking in water, or soaking in water, I'll be smoking with. Now I don't put this on the fire, I put it on the metal around the fire. And that way it smolders slowly and it releases smoke for a longer period of time, and it's a smoother, more even smoke, and it really seems to work. So I recommend giving this a try. You might be surprised. This piece, I'm about to put it down in there too. Now, I need to stabilize my fire and my temperature, get this at the right temperature. I mean the metal itself needs to be even. This usually takes about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and to get it stable. And then once you're doing that, you're also putting that wood around the sides and getting your meat ready to go on there, okay? Let's take a look at what we need to do with our meat. I'm doing 3 different cuts of meat today. I'm going to be doing some beef brisket, this one. I'm going to be doing a pork roast, and I'm also going to be doing some chicken. Now, I want to mention, when it comes to a brisket, there's a lot of fat on these things, especially if it's like this. This is what they call a packer brisket, and it's just the whole pectoral muscle of the cow. And so it contains more than one muscle. You have what we call the point, which is a group of muscles here that stretch down underneath. And we have the flat, which is a muscle that is this part up here. And I'm about to separate those two. I do this because Number one, I want better I want better smoke penetration in my meat, and I can't get smoke penetration on the other side of the flat right here because of all this down here. All right, that's why I can only smoke one side of it. Well, I want to fix that problem. So this time, and I'm breaking with my tradition, I'm going to separate my roast during the trimming process. Now, I also remove a lot of the fat, but not all of it. And here's the thing, not all of the fat can actually render through the meat. Keeping some of it's important because it's flavor, but if you keep all of it, well, unless you're just a person that likes eating fat, I recommend not doing that because it's just not doing you any benefit. It's kind of getting in the way of good smoke penetration, which is, in my view, better barbecue. So I'm going to trim it, split the two muscles in half, and then I'll have those ready to go on the smoker in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, there's not a lot to say about the meats except that I've divided my brisket so I get better smoke penetration over the whole thing. That way I can smoke both sides of the point and both sides of the flat. Great way to approach this. I have taken my pork roast, I've opened it up, butterflied out the bone and removed the fat back on it. Okay, so it is now ready in the same way that is ready for that smoker. It's been opened up, it'll smoke much faster this way. Up here we have that chicken. The chicken I have just removed from its package, dried it off. Now it's ready to hit the smoker. Now when it comes to when to smoke, depends on when you need your meat ready. Now things are going to smoke at different periods of time. Brisket takes a lot of time because it's a very tough meat. It takes a long cook to get it tender. The pork gets tender in half the time that the beef does, and the chicken will be ready in half the time that the pork will be. So you have 3 different cook times here. In a way that's good, in a way it's bad. If you're looking for everything to arrive at once, then it can be bad. But if you're looking to do final cooking the way I'm going to do, and I'll show you that in a little bit, then this is a good method of doing this because I ready one thing, get it cooked, and then set it aside and get one thing after another. If I'm going to do a barbecue, this is the work I do the day before the barbecue. The barbecue, we break it out, we reheat it up on a grill, we serve it, and everybody is happy with what they get. Folks, I've been getting some salt on my meat here, and a couple of things I want to mention. To handle meat in a smoker, like I'm doing here, just get you a couple of pair of tongs. Those forks and stuff like that, I'll be honest with you, I've never really had much good success using forks in big cuts of meat like this, all right? The fork would have to be very robust for cuts of meat as heavy as these, all right? So, in that case, salt these things up liberally. You can use a mop sauce. I'll be talking about a mop sauce in a little bit. Mop sauce, what that does, it's a way of doing 2 things. Breaking the rind that builds from smoking, and the other thing that the mop sauce does is it helps to moisturize the meat. Or I shouldn't say moisturize, but lock in moisture. There we go. So, I've got to get the smoke billowing. We've got the right temperature. It's just a matter of getting smoke. The smoke is rolling, and that's because the fire has just been taken care of. So what I did is I added a little more charcoal in the center, and I have put my wood around the sides up on the metal, okay? The fire will heat it slowly, it will smolder slowly and break down slowly. It never really bursts into flames that way. You get a controlled burn, more even smoke, and a much better quality product in the end. So this is how I like to do mine. I'm getting ready to make a mop sauce for my meat. Now, in case you're wondering, what is a mop sauce? Well, mop sauce is something that people who do barbecue or do a lot of smoking, is something that we do to give us 2 basic advantages. Advantage number 1 is locking moisture in the meat. And advantage number 2 is breaking any rind that builds on the meat to help get better smoke penetration. So I need something to break the rind. That would be something acidic like vinegar. I need something to lock in moisture. That would be something like oil. I've got oil here. Now, the kind of oil you use doesn't really matter, okay? that you do this is what matters. It is important because your meat's going to dry out otherwise, plain and simple. A mop sauce can be used with spices, so you can add in paprika or black pepper or anything like that that you want to try. And don't be afraid to put plenty in there. All right, so give it a try. I'm going to be doing 4 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. So in other words, to every cup of oil, 1/4 of a cup of vinegar. That's all there is to it. And I generally just approximate those measurements. I don't get too technical in measuring it out. Most of the time when I do a mop sauce, if I add anything to it, it will be either paprika, black pepper, or a combination of both. Once you've combined these two, boil them for about 5 minutes. Once boiled, your mop sauce is ready to hit the meat, plain and simple. Looks like my temperature has just now come to 225 and it's still rising. I'm going to close my damper just a little bit. I want to keep it temperature under 250. Now I'm going to use my mop sauce here in just a little bit. I want to mention, as you're smoking, turn the pieces of meat from time to time, flip them over from time to time, and relocate them. Okay, so I'll switch places on the 2 pieces of brisket that I have. I will switch places with the pork later in the cooking because this end is warmer than that end, and the chicken I'm just going to keep right back where it's at. Poultry seems to smoke really well at a colder location, so I try not to heat it up too quick too soon. I'm trying to get flavor in that meat, not to cook the meat so much. Though this does part of the cooking process, the majority of my cooking is going to be done after I smoke. I'll put it in the oven to finish it off, bring it up to the right temperature, and I do that in a technique called braising, and everything comes out 10 times juicier, smoky as can be, and the flavors are incredible. The tenderness is where it should be. So that's all there is to it. Give it a mop sauce about once an hour. Check your fire at least once an hour, and don't let it get too hot. I've pulled the chicken out, put it in a Dutch oven. I'm going to add a little water to this, put it in the oven. We're going to finish it off at 325, and that just to get the heat through to the center and finish the cook. This keeps it nice, moist, delicious, and you have a beautiful barbecued chicken. Okay, in addition to the barbecue chicken, we got the rest of the meat that's going to smoke for a little while longer. I like to smoke the brisket all day. I'll do pork for anywhere around 7 to 8 hours, and chickens I usually do anywhere from 3 to 5 hours worth of smoking. So this just needs to be finished off in the oven, and then it's ready to enjoy. The rest of it, I'll be turning it into well, all kinds of different stuff. Sliced brisket as well as chopped, and the same thing on the pork, doing pulled pork. It's always delicious. Well, it's the next day, and the barbecue went off without a hitch. Almost all of the meat was eaten. I have just a little bit left of my pork and my brisket, and everything else was devoured. There's a lot of folks that enjoyed that. It was easy to do, a lot of fun, but it's just long. You know, that's the only thing about smoking, doing the barbecue thing. It just takes a lot of time, so you have to be patient. Oh, and the sun has been hurting my eyes. Here, there we go. Now they don't hurt as bad. All right, so anyway, thank you for watching this. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, drop them in the boxes down below. Just write that in there. Click like if you enjoyed the video. And folks, please check out what I do on my website, which is S.A.Trotter.com. That's where I sell the recipes to everything that I do, or at least the beginning of that. So if you would take a look at that, and I've got some really worthwhile stuff there. Please keep watching, and you're going to see a short clip about that. And then also in the description box is where you're going to find the links for all of that. Thank you very much. You folks have a good day. I wanted to mention to you my recipes. Yes, I sell my recipes. Okay, look, some people, they give the recipes out for free and they charge for the tutorial. So I do it the opposite on YouTube. You get the tutorial for free, I charge for the recipe. I did a lot of work, a lot of writing, a lot of extra stuff that goes with this, okay? Come over a little closer. Let me show you one of these up close so you really realize what you're getting. And then also, I'm offering one for free. We'll take a quick look at that right now. Come here. This is what I'm talking about right here. When I fill out a recipe, when I write one, I always bullet point all of the ingredients, okay? A simple one or a complex one. I, in addition, number the instructions, and often I'll give pictures with it. Now, not all of them are this well done, but this is what I'm going for on every single one from here on out. All of my new recipes you're going to see done this way. And on the end of the recipe, there's always a place for notes for yourself, okay? Right now, go to my website. You're going to get this one right here for free, okay? Cinnamon rolls. Enjoy that cinnamon rolls recipe and take a look at the others I have. They're really worth your time.